Yay, I think we're unmuted. We're unmuted.
Yeah.
And there's the face cam for all it's worth. You can tell the humidity level is up. And I'm bundled in a sweater. It's cool here today. We had a real September day and it's not even September. And I'm all stuffy again.
Tomorrow's September.
Tomorrow is September. But got cool. We have definitely have September weather. It was a little chilly this morning. Well, you guys were out chasing bears out of the yard.
I was afraid what Maze was going to do.
Yeah. No, it was an interesting evening last night. We had a bear on the property, and it decided to upend our garbage bag and then drag some of the contents into the backyard. And then Renee went out to to take Maze out for the evening, and two, just to check to see what that noise was. When he looked one way, he didn't see anything. When he looked the other, all he saw was a big old bear butt heading for the backyard. It's like, okay, dog, staying in the house. So yeah, it made for an interesting evening. And then around 3 this morning, our bear was back, looking for dessert, I guess. I don't know. So, needless to say, we had an interesting evening. And it is a little chilly, or at least it was earlier this morning. It was quite chilly. So, but we're warm and cozy in here.
Linda Safranco had a surgery?
Yes, she did. She had her nose fixed yesterday.
Oh.
So she sounds much like I do.
Oh.
Her nose is packed, mine is packed, but for different reasons. So, yes. Why have I got music coming from here? There. Good God. Too many devices. So today we're going to be painting Farm Fresh Berries. I love this piece. It's a rather subdued color palette for me. I don't usually do all of these gray values and darker tones, but I really, really loved the old stoneware look of this bowl, and then the bright flowers. And then I thought it'd be fun just to do some fun little berries in this. Berries are always a fun thing to do. So we're going to do some raspberries. So a fun one with a nifty little floral. And this will tie in nicely with the rest of the Farm Fresh series that we've done. I really like these. I've mostly framed mine. I really like them framed. I just think they look so nice. And I have them hanging all over the place. So,
I will make you tea.
oh, thank you. So we're going to be painting Farm Fresh Berries. I've done a little bit of prep work for today because this one takes a little bit of time. But we are going to go through the entire process together. Now, before we head into this, I want to talk about the giveaways today. This is a really unusual day for me. Usually I have brushes to give away for today, but I don't today. Instead, we have something really special. We have 3 Tombow drawing sets. Now, those are rather substantial drawing sets. They come with double-ended markers and a double-ended blender. They come with a professional drawing pencil, and it comes with 2 of the brush tips. I can never pronounce this word. Fustaneco, whatever. I can't say that word. We have the beautiful brush tip pens in 2 sizes, plus one of the Tombow drawing pens. Absolutely love all of these products that are in there. I use almost all of them on a regular basis. And of course, then there's one of the Tombow erasers in there. They are valued at about $27 Canadian, which would be about, $8 US. No, I'm kidding. They're valued at about $22 US. So it's a very nice giveaway. And then to boost that up, we threw in some other goodies. We've got a great little Create bag with a bunch of little fun stuff in it for you as well. And so that is our giveaway this week. We have a fabulous drawing set from Tombow USA. Tombow is one of my favorite product lines. I absolutely love everything that they make. I have their markers, I have their drawing pens, their pencils, and their erasers. I love everything. Great quality, absolutely beautiful products. So you three winners, whoever they are going to love these drawing sets. And in order to get your name on the wheel, all you have to do is like and share and join us in the chat. That's really all you have to do. We'll copy and paste all the names out of the 2 chat windows because we are dual streaming both to YouTube and to Facebook Live. So we take all of those names, put them on the wheel, and at the end of the live today, we give that wheel a spin 3 times, and 3 of you are going to receive that Tombow drawing set. So I'm excited about it. It's a nice giveaway this week. So before we get started, I want to say hi to a few people. Brenda Sawyer, hello from South Carolina. And Phyllis Higgins, Bonnie Clock. Sue Braun, hello, sweetie. Margaret Davis, Darlene Cartmel, hello, Darlene. Virginia Hedges, Jane Schumann. Some of my favorite buds. Connie Gieslin, hello. Yes, I am sounding a bit better. Thank you very much. And Dee Stratton. Hello, Dee. And Lori Fife. Hello, sweetheart. Nice to see you. And Lois Ann Pritchard. And Donna Baker. Oh, my goodness. Everybody's here today. I was so glad to see you all. And Miss Karen. Hello, Miss Karen. Virginia Ruiz. Hola, saludos. From Argentina, from Buenos Aires. Hello. Hello, Kathy. From Grants Pass, Oregon. Beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful. And Tricia Tyler. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Donna Pulse. Hope you guys. Donna and her husband they're a fabulous couple. Donna Pulse. Her husband, Rich, is a wreath maker extraordinaire, I have to say. And they sent me the most beautiful fall wreath. I can't wait for actual fall weather so I can hang it up because it's gorgeous. So I'm very excited about that. And Jan, hello. And Cheryl D'Agostino, hello. And Shannon B. Riley, hello. Oh, I'm so glad everybody's here today. So if you guys, I'm international on lives. Yeah, I guess I am. Love the berries. The bear might have heard about them and showed up early. A little too early. Yep. And Carol Vanderpool. Hello. And Shelby Thomas. Oh, you're not late. Better late than never. All right, guys. If you are ready to get started on farm fresh berries, so am I. Renee is upstairs making me a cup of tea. Trying to keep my nose unstuffed. The hay fever's just been, brutal. Allergies have been brutal. Alrighty. So the surface that we're working on is an 8x10. This one is an MDF panel. This one has been primed. I use a little bit of thin gesso, a couple of coats, give it a light sanding, and then a base color. Pardon me. I used Deep Midnight Blue. I really love this color. It's slightly grayed out, very country style blue. Looks really nice with the color scheme that we've chosen. So is Renee feeling better too? He is. He's back to his usual smart alecky self. Hi, Anne. Oh, I am feeling much better. I'm just dealing with a very stuffy nose. Hi, Bobby. And Ann Easterly. Hello from Texas. Must be much warmer in Texas than it is here. It was a little nippy today. So, I'm using a 1/2-inch check stencil. And I tape it in place. And the color that we're using for this is cobblestone. I love this color. So much so that I painted both the big bathrooms in the house with it. Now, when I stencil, again, I'm with the Edith Ann. So I'm using this very sparingly. And just I don't want this fully opaque. I just want it sort of loose and distressed looking. So I'm putting on a very light coat. It can be as irregular as you like. You don't need to. Yes, I did sound better yesterday, Karen. You don't need to get this perfect. So they don't all have to be uniform. They can all be varying strengths, as it were. Because we're going to distress this anyway. We're going to wear this down a little bit, make it look like it's been there for years. I'm just going to make sure I get this lined up properly so I don't have checks going in directions they should. Oh. I have a feeling you guys are going to be tired of this check stencil before too long. I did get some new stencils in, so I'm rather excited. I've got projects planned using some of those new ones. And I have an adorable pumpkin for you guys that will be up later this week. I'm all about Halloween lately. I don't know why. I don't do a lot for Halloween, but lately I'm a fan. So I've got fairly uniform. I don't go overboard with the checkerboard. Pardon the pun. I'm going to take my line drawing off. There we go. So we're going to distress this a little bit, and I always prefer to do things in one direction. So I'm going to sand vertically, just like that. And all I really want to do is just wear down some of these checks a little bit. Oh, Sue. I've been having a heck of a time with the allergies this year. Okay. So I just want to wear through these a little bit so that they're not perfect. So if you get scratches and gouges and you wear some of the paint right off, that's okay. Oh. So I'm going to take a little bit of shop towel, wipe off the dust. Oh, my stars. Couldn't be more jammed up if I had a cork in there. Hello, Patsy Justice and Linda Giesbrich. And Andrea George, hello. So I'm going to grab my fugly brush. I'm just going to put a little water on this. Just like a little bit of water just to, so that you can see what you've done. If it's worn through enough, if you need to do more. If perhaps it wasn't a little overdone is also a thing. I really like this. I like, do you see those verticals? Those little, lovely little scratches and gouges, and it softens the stenciling. Very nice. Cheryl asks, where do I get my sanding pads? Honey, I've had these since, since time out of mind. I'm not even sure if they're available anymore. I find the larger ones on Amazon. I found them there. Woodworking stores generally have them. Who is George? Andrea George. Good morning, Linda. So I'm going to dry this. There we go. Now I'm going to use a high-tech applicator. I know exactly what you're thinking. What's a high-tech applicator? So I'm taking a piece of shop towel and I'm tearing it in half. And then I'm going to bundle up half of that half, tuck it inside the other half of that half. High-tech applicator. And I'm going to get it wet just with a little bit of water. You can use a little juice on you if you're feeling energetic. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, tea
Oh, wow.
and the juice.
I don't know that I can suck through a straw without making my head explode, but we'll try. I can't swallow right now. Judy Cormier Lowe, I love watching you paint. From Mississippi, wow. Well, welcome. I'm glad you joined us. So, high-tech applicator. I'm going to move that cup of tea. High-tech applicator, just moistened it with a little bit of water or glaze. You want it wet, but you don't want it dripping. And I'm going to use a little bit of lamp black. I know this scares everybody when I do this. And I'm going to put a nice soft border all the way around the outside edge. Darkest value to the outside. And Miss Mays had a birthday this week.
Yep.
A whole year old.
Donna Baker. Hello. She didn't say hi to you. She said
No,
hi to me.
she said hi to me earlier.
Oh, did she?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not that special.
You are special. Short bus, hockey helmet, special.
Soup and water wings.
Soup and water wings. That's my boy. Oh, God. Come again when you can't stay so long. Some days, that boy, I'm telling you. Soup and water wings. Oh my gosh. Sandy, I'm actually feeling just fine. I'm just sound terrible, that's all. Chicken soup for dinner? No, we're not having chicken soup for dinner. We had chicken and wonton earlier this week. We're having, one of our favorite gourmet meals this weekend. We're having hot dogs. So, apparently they don't get to eat real food often. Apparently, so, and it's been a week, so hot dogs it is. Makes them happy. So, essentially, I'm just creating a nice dark background, a nice dark area all the way around the outside edge. And I'm leaving the center area a little lighter. So when I do this next step, which is going to bring all of this together. Now, I did this with a soft cloth. You can float around the outside edge and darken those corners using a brush by all means. This is just a fast and, for me, a very easy way of getting this done. So I'm going to dry that. And then I'm going to use my fugly brush and a little bit of glaze and some asphaltum. I like asphaltum. And I'm going to thin out the asphaltum quite a bit. And then I'm going to apply a wash of asphaltum vertically. Remember how we sanded it? I'm applying this glaze the same way. Vertically, so that we get nice little stria in it. And it unifies all of this. And it sets the tone. So now we've got that darker outside edge. And then with this asphaltum wash over top, it just tones everything and brings it all together. And if at any time you feel it needs more, you can put on more. There we go. So I'm going to dry this. And then from this point, you're ready to trace and transfer your line drawing on. I love this distressed look. It has a really nice aged appearance without looking really dirty, which is one of the reasons I use asphaltum instead of using burnt umber. I find burnt umber has a tendency to leave things looking a bit dirty or grimy, and I like a more subtle version. And so the asphaltum sort of brings everything in line, and you end up with a nice warm finish, even with the blue. Get that warmer tone, you get softer transitions so it doesn't look like a big hard border around the outside edge. And it brings everything into balance. I love this look, and it works so well with so many different things. So before I flip this over, I just want to make sure everything is dry. Now, I've done a little bit of prep ahead of time. I've already traced my line drawing on, and I've done some base coating so that everything is ready to go. There we go. So I love this background. Now, somebody asked me the other day if this could be done with a red background, and the answer is absolutely yes. I think this done, same color palette, the very same color palette, done with a dark red, like a country red, along that lines. Once it's aged with this antiquing method, it's nice and warm, it's nice and rich, and it takes on that darkness that we want. That nice little contrast is what we're going to get from this. So you could do that with a red, absolutely. And it will work fine with what's already, with the color palette that's already in this element. So if you prefer to use a red as opposed to a dark blue, by all means, go right ahead. You're, Deb, thank you. You're very welcome. So, you might have noticed this week that I posted that I got some fabulous brushes from Dynasty, and I've been playing with them. Oh, a dark green would be yummy, Tracy. I think a nice dark green. I would start with, oh, what would make it? Antique green would make a beautiful background. And then if you did the very same technique, same color palette that you've done here, an antique green, and then put this over top of it, I think it would look fabulous. Because the color is already in there, so you're just using a variation of it, I think it would be fabulous. And Sue Pot says, Cheryl D'Agostino's made a donation to the fund. Cheryl, thank you so much. I missed that. Too busy looking here instead of the monitor. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. Hello, Debbie Marlowe. Hello from rainy Montreal. Yeah, it's going to be rainy here later. What would I shade it with if I used an antique green for the background? I would use black green. Because you want a nice dark outside edge. So yeah, I'd use a black green. It would look fabulous. Good morning, Bonnie Dixon and Kim Roberts, McCutcheon. Yes, absolutely, Gail. If I were using an antique green for this background, I would use a black green for those outside edges, and I would still go with the asphaltum afterwards, and it would all bring it together. I think it would look great. So we are going to start with this little thing back here with this stone crock bowl. I have an absolute passion for this type of thing. These old crockery bowls, the big red bird crockery. That stuff is just beautiful. Those old stone crockery. I love the look of it, and it has this tone, this soft, warm gray tone. I really like that. Yes, Kelly, allergies. So I was talking about brushes. I did make a post earlier this week about some of the brushes that Dynasty sent to me, and these are them. And I wanted to use the opportunity to tell you a little bit about them because one, the quality of these is exceptional. I have to say, I was quite surprised, uh, pleasantly so. I mean, I see new brushes every year, and some stick, some don't. These ones are meant to be on the affordable side, and they are quite affordable, but still a very high quality brush for that price point. These are called Evo Art. They meet vegan criteria. They are cruelty free, meaning no animals are harmed in them. They are environmentally sound and made from renewable resources, which means that this is either reclaimed, the handle is from reclaimed and reforested areas. So, no environmental impact or minimal environmental impact, right down to the paint finish, which I was rather impressed with. But as you and I know, the perhaps the most important part of the brush is the business end, and it's this bit here. So when you get to talking about the filament and the ferrule, the nice part about this, nickel plated, double crimped, it's got a nice tight crimp on the handle. These are a nickel plated ferrule, seamless, meaning there's no folded seam on there anywhere or a welded seam. So they are utterly seamless. And then there's the filament that's in it. This is a synthetic, 100% synthetic. Very, very soft. This is about the same softness as a red sable, although this is a synthetic. Very, very soft brush, designed for watercolor and water media, which means also acrylics because that's considered a water media. So it works beautifully with acrylic paint as well as watercolors. This one has already gotten a beating from me because I've been using it steadily since I received these brushes. Uh, they're a little softer than I normally use. And so there's a little bit of a learning curve for me because I don't use brushes that are quite this soft. But I gotta tell you, this floats like a dream. It holds a ton of paint and a ton of water, and it floats so beautifully. So beautifully. So if you get an opportunity to pick up one or two, uh, I can't tell you where they're going to be available because, quite honestly, they're brand new, so I don't know where they're available yet, or even if they are. Uh, but I highly recommend that if you get the opportunity to grab just one or two to try them out, uh, make sure you pick up one of these half-inch angles. So soft, and the float is beautiful. So I'm obsessed with this angled shader, but let me show you the other thing I'm obsessed with is this. This is their liner. And it gets very fluffy when it's dry. So it looks like, like a ponytail. It looks very fluffy. When it gets wet, it has the most beautiful point on it and holds a ton of water and a ton of paint. So these are the two brushes that I've been absolutely obsessed with this week. Love this liner. Sharp, 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 holds a ton of liquid. Fabulous for line work. And this angled shader for floating is just phenomenal. So I cannot recommend you try these enough. I just think if you enjoy a brush with a very soft flex, I think you'll really like these. Now, just because it has a soft flex doesn't mean it has... Elsie, I can't tell you where they're available just yet. They are brand new. But I wanted to just give you my initial thoughts on them. Beautiful brush. Nicely balanced. Very nicely balanced. Super, super soft. When it's wet, beautiful chisel edge. Look at that. It's just like a razor. Great brush. So just FYI, keep it in the back of your mind. And as soon as I find out when they will be available and where they'll be available, I will let you know. And of course, we'll make sure to try and get you a coupon code for them as well so that you can try them out at a reasonable price. They're not horribly expensive. I've already seen the price list. So yeah, I'm rather impressed, and I've been using that liner and that angled shader all week. So that is what I wanted to tell you today about those brushes, because I'm pretty excited about. I always get excited about trying new brushes. So we're going to start with our bowl, and we're going to use a little bit of asphaltum. And I thin this always. I don't like to use these colors full strength. And we're going to shade underneath all of these leaves. I'm going to grab my mop just to soften those shadows. What impressed me about these was, look at how soft the floats are. Beautiful little brush. So I like to shade all the way along those areas first, so that we've got a nice little shadow up underneath. Doesn't have to be super dark, because this is just the first one. What is it? She had, yeah, Painting Brush Hoarders Anonymous. That's an interesting title. So I'm using asphaltum, and I'm shading in behind the flowers, underneath the leaves. Just like that. Soften with your favorite mop. Now this shadow, I'm going to walk it out about a third of the way. So I want a fairly wide shadow along here. And I have just made a cardinal mistake. I did not allow my float to dry well enough before I did the second one. So I ended up taking off more paint than I put on. So I'm going to come back in. Nice little dark shadow there. And we also have to put a shadow on the other side, but it's going to be a little narrower than the one on the other side. This just helps imply that it's a little wider, a little curved. There we are. So I'm going to dry this. I must not buy that brush. Yeah, good luck with that. Cheryl, if it makes you feel any better, I probably have far more brushes than you do. Far. So I'm just going to deepen the shading underneath the leaves a little bit. Just like that. And I'm going to shade on that white border, that white trim of our bowl. I'm going to shade underneath there. And a little float on the other side. I want to leave it a little bright. Now, each time you put a float on, it gets a little bit darker. And I will sometimes do this 5 or 6 times. I'm working with very heavily thin paint. So I can make it as dark as I want. just by putting in layers of color. And then I like to keep things balanced, so I'm going to darken that side as well. So this one is going to look a little bit sloppy for a bit, and that's okay, because we have so many things going over top of this, so you could cut yourself a little bit of slack. See, it looks a little sloppy. That's all right. I'm just going to put a little water here. There we go. Now rinse my brush. Now I'm going to dry this really well. Pardon me. And then I'm going to put my line drawing back on. And then we're going to trace the lettering that goes on the belly of this bowl. And also the lines for some of the berries, etc. Now the nice part is that I have a vertical line or horizontal line here that I can line up to. There we go. So now I know that things are as straight as they're going to get because I have that horizontal line going off of there. So I have a little piece of tape here just to secure it in place so it doesn't shift left to right. So put my graphite paper under. I'm going to pull this taut and tape it in place. Now, we need these fun little details. Now, for the berries, these are pretty fun, actually. So I just put in some rudimentary circles. It's just a guide. You do not have to follow these precisely, but it's just a guide, mainly for placement. That's all. And we've got one over here. And then our little bowl has a stripe right here that sort of stops short of the words, and it's covered up by a berry on this side. And then we need to put that lettering on. I found this font and I absolutely loved it. It has that very rustic, very distressed country look to it that I absolutely love. And I thought it would be perfect for this. I decided on a very simple font for a couple of reasons. This one just has that country feel to it for me, which really appealed on a lot of levels. I also like that none of the letters are really perfectly uniform, which leaves you a lot of room and works exceptionally well for this type of a look. And because it's not too skinny and it's not too thick, this is an easy letter to paint successfully. So for the most part, the only thing that really matters with this particular font is that it's straight and level. So it makes it easy to get that really cute farmhouse look without making a mess. So almost done with this. Whoops, a daisy. There we go. And I think I'm done. Oh, one thing I did forget was to put these little blades. I like the little blades. They're just little strokes. Just to soften things. That's all. Nothing major. They don't have to be perfect, and you can do as many or as little as you like. Robin Storm, they don't make a big enough brush holder for me. Robin, I have 11 12 by 12 scrapbook paper holders. 11 of them, full of brushes. You're fine. So there we are. This is just such an easy piece to paint. We're gonna have a little fun with those berries. We're gonna do those towards the end because they're just fun, and they're very non-threatening, and they really finish this piece really nicely when you're done. Yeah, I have a ridiculous number of brushes. So we're going to start with this lettering and this little red stripe on the bowl. I've got a color called Tea Berry. Such a pretty color. And I'm going to use my rigger. And we're going to put a coat of Tea Berry down as our base color. I know, this sounds crazy, but this is our base color for this stripe. Now, this has a very corally tone to it, which means it's got a little bit of orange in it, which means it's going to make our red that much brighter. It's such a yummy color. So there we go. There's our stripe on our bowl. It's just a base color. We're going to be putting our country red over top of it. Karen, I work for a brush company. I have a lot of brushes. I have a lot of brushes. I can't even begin to tell you how many brushes I have. So there's that little punch. I love this little punch of that orangey pinky color. It's just so pretty. Now, I put that little bit of tea berry in there for a reason, because we're using cranberry wine over top of it, that punch of red, and it's going to make that red sing. I love cranberry wine. Downside, very transparent. So it needs a red underneath it to keep it lively. But it's such a beautiful color. But it's going to make this, watch. Look how vibrant it stays over top of that little bit of tea berry. You get that real punch. If I were to put it just over the gray, it looks a little lifeless. It's still a nice contrast, but doesn't have the punch. And I love the punch that you get. Look how pretty. And I kind of like this sort of distressed little bar. I had a mixing bowl for the longest time that was made out of this stoneware. And it had one single little dark red stripe around the middle. I loved it. So, and that's really all you have to do to this at this point. We will come back in and deepen some shadows and whatnot, but at this point, that's all we need to do for that little... How do I figure out my palette for my pieces? They're always perfect. Well, they're not always perfect, I can promise you, but we were discussing this at one point with some other artist friends. Everybody has their own process when it comes to designing things. My process is very methodical. Uh, Deb starts with just a rough sketch. She starts painting things and then she throws in little details and she adds things as she goes. I am the total opposite. When I'm designing something, I have a plan right from the get go of what I want and how I want it to look. And the first thing I start with is my subject matter. What's my subject matter going to be? And in this case, it was this bowl. And then how am I going to fill it up? Then I choose the other things that go with it. And I've already decided that this is a stoneware bowl. So I have to look for a traditional stoneware palette and then I build, because this is the focal point, I build my color palette around the focal point. And so I select my colors accordingly. And because it's a gray, it's a warm gray, I can pair it with dark reds and whatnot. And that's when the berries, I chose my colors for the berries, etc. So I start with my focal point and I build out from there. And by the time I sit down to paint, I already know what colors I'm going to use. I know my surface, I know the stencil, I know every element of what I want it to paint. So that's why it does not seem to take me very long to paint things, because I already know how everything's going to go. And in some cases, I even have most of my instructions written before I even paint it, because I know where I'm going with it. And I can make changes later on at any time. So if I decide to, nope, that color doesn't work, I can pull it out, try something else. Or if I decide that, you know what, I really don't like this base color for the bowl, I'm going to switch it out for, say, cobblestone to portobello. Uh, and I can do that. So I have a plan right at the very beginning, a complete color palette, the size, the surface, the stencils. I have my whole process in place long before I pick up a brush. So sometimes when it's finished, it looks like the picture in my head, and sometimes it doesn't. But when it comes to choosing color, I know how colors interact with each other. So sometimes I have to find a way to make the color do what I wanted it to do. So, and in a case like this, I really wanted this cranberry wine to stand out. I didn't want it to become muted. So, which it would have been if I just put it over the gray. So it needed something hot underneath it. And I had already selected tea berry for the flowers. So I thought the tea berry has this great glow to it. It's a nice punch of color. And it has that orangey undertone, so it's going to lend some heat. And it was the perfect color to put underneath the cranberry wine. So that's how I do that. Because I'm a tad obsessive. um, that insight, I think, comes just from years of doing it. That's all. And I think it's just practice. When you do it all the time, I think that's all it is. So I'm going to use, we're going to do this berries lettering. I'm going to use a little bit of warm white. I have a nice warm color palette going, so I'm going to stick with that. I'm using warm white. And I'm using a zero rigger to do this. This lettering is very forgiving. It doesn't require a ton of pressure on the brush. It doesn't require a whole lot of, there's not a lot of fine details in it. So you can put fairly consistent pressure on the brush just to fill in the space. Just enough pressure to let the brush fill the space. That's all you need. Easy peasy. And this particular font, I just think lends itself so well to this style. And I'm very fond of this farmhouse look. I just love this distressed, aged country look. I don't like things to look, severely beaten up. But time worn, I think, is the word I'm looking for. I love the time worn. And I think time worn works for a lot of people. And it looks good in almost every home. It's a cute little touch. And it all depends on how it's displayed, too. I put mine in black frames with white mats. It gives them a more finished look. I'm not a big fan of raffia and stuff like that, so I like a cleaner, more contemporary finish. And so I tend to lean towards putting things into frames, something clean and slick and a little more sophisticated. But that's just so that it suits my taste. Deb Mishma does the most amazing little creatures and creations. They're beautifully rustic, and she always embellishes them so beautifully. She's got these wonderful little bows and raffia and bits of fabric, and it's so charming. The stuff she does is very charming. And the stuff that I do tends to be a bit more rustic. Not necessarily primitive, but a bit rustic. And I love the more commercial appearance of it. So I'm very fond of old product signs, old labels, vegetable crate labels, fruit labels, things like that. Old seed packets. That type of vintage work really appeals to me, always has. And so that's where I tend to gravitate. So that appeals to me on a lot of levels. So I'm going to dry that. And then we're going to do a little work on the foreground before we do a little bit of work on the background. So we want to make sure this is good and dry. So our foreground needs to be a little bit darker. I do this frequently, whereas I bring the pattern all the way down. And of course, it doesn't necessarily need to be, but I like to take a little bit of thinned lamp black and bring that color right up to the edge of my piece and right up to that horizontal line. That's our tabletop. And I'm just going to sort of slap this in. It's just a wash of black. A little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Bring it right up to your leaves. I'm not too worried about that flower because we haven't painted it yet. So if you need to bring it right over, it's okay. So that little bit of thinned lamp black just gives our tabletop a little something something. Separates it from the rest of the background. Just like that. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does darken and deepen that check. So it makes it a little less noticeable. A little bit. But it doesn't have to be perfect. There we are. So again, I just sort of slap a little of that in there, and I'm going to dry it so that it's nice and dry, so I don't put my hands in wet paint again. I get all of Facebook on here. Hi, Cheryl Bentley. Is that a number 2 dynasty? Yeah, it's a 0 rigger. Yeah. Good morning, Lori. Okay. So that's nice and dry. So I like that little bit of black. It just diffuses so that it differentiates from the background there. I'm going to use a big old round or an angle. We could use an angle for this too. I'll just rinse out my brush. I'm going to thin out some warm white, very heavily thinned. And I want to bring a little light back here, just in this little corner here, right at the tabletop level, on that side of the bowl, just a little. All this does is just create a light impact point on the background. Grab my mop here, soften that. It does not need to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's just going to change the value of that background a little bit on that side, and we're going to do a little bit on this side as well. Just means that the light is striking the wall in behind our bowl. That's all that means. And voila. So it just changes that dynamic a little bit. So now we have a tabletop, a well-defined tabletop. Hi, Mary Lynn. On a good laundry day. Well, Christina, I certainly hope that you're picking up your brushes soon. Where is my YouTube people? I'm missing the YouTube chat. So, we've got our tabletop done. I do like to create a bit more of a shadow on the shadow side of this, which is on our left side. So I'm going to bring a little bit of that thinned lamp black in here, a little heavier. I just want to create a little shadow like so. It just implies that the bowl is casting a shadow. That's all that does. And it's a subtle one, because it's just a little darker than the background. And we can deepen it a little bit too, but I think we're good for now. There we are. Just creates a little bit of a shadow back there. There we are. So this bowl is casting this shadow because our light source is over here. So a lot of our highlights, and the fun part about this type of artwork is that the highlights don't necessarily all have to be perfect. I kind of have mine every which way in this one. So, our next step is our leaves. So the colors for our leaves, I've used antique green or lush green, either one of them. Hi, Charlene. I'm so glad you enjoyed the Saturdays. Carol Colbert, yes, my dear, I did get your message. I haven't had a chance to message you back. Been a busy day. So I'm going to shade my lettering, or my, sorry, not my lettering. What am I shading? Leaves. I'm going to shade my leaves with a little bit of plantation pine or black green or whatever dark green you have on hand. House or dark will work too. I gravitate towards either plantation pine or black green. Those are my two go-tos, but virtually any dark green will do the job. So on the smaller leaves, I put that nice little U-shaped float at the base of the leaf where it joins the stem. Keep it simple. And then underneath the flowers, just like that, up underneath. I am only doing that first shading. I leave the center vein shading until after this one is dry, so that I end up putting on color instead of taking color off. The same with any shadows that are going to separate or divide leaves. So if it's going to separate one leaf from another, I will leave that. Simply because if you try to put one float on too soon, you end up taking off more paint than you put on. So this is just a simpler method. So first shading is in. I think I missed on this one. There we go. They don't have to be perfect floats by any stretch of the imagination. Every which way highlights, I'm a firm believer. There is a point where it isn't really all that important. And one of the pleasures of primitive style painting or farmhouse style is that it doesn't have to be super realistic. It's one of those things. And this, I do this frequently. I'll be working on one and then I just don't like the berry a certain way, or the fruit or the grape or whatever it is. I don't like it that way, so I'll put the highlights on the other side because it looks better. It's not right, but it looks better. So I just go with it. So I'm going to put a shadow down the center vein of my leaf. You gotta love it. That little shadow. Look at that. Just leaves come to life when you put that little float in. Right down to the point. Gotta love it. And this is, as I said, it's not a difficult piece to paint. And I don't really care for a lot of rules when it comes to painting in this style. I think a lot of the time it just overthinks things a bit. And anybody that's going to look that close doesn't deserve it anyhow. So, there. Now, if I were making this lifelike and realistic, then I would probably concern myself a bit more with where the highlights land. But in this particular case, I'm not overly concerned. So I'm going to dry this. I always like to get the leaves out of the way so I can paint flowers, because for me, I love painting these. They're just so much fun to paint. And these flowers, when you do these, the whole piece just comes to life almost instantly, which just makes it fun. It's art. It can be what you want. Yeah, absolutely, Debbie. So, nice and dry. Now we're going to add our highlights. Now, I had a little bit of fun with the highlights on these because I used a little bit of New Leaf, which is one of Decor's new colors. It's a nice bright leafy green, and it's very pretty. It's a very pretty color. So I've also brought in some margarita, which is this high yellow, a very acid green, which is just so great for highlights on leaves. So our first highlight on here is going to be done with new leaf. So I've got a little bit of new leaf. I love this color. It's a yummy leafy green, and it's going to give our leaves a whole bunch of life. So, and it clashes with the antique green, but don't panic. Don't panic. Because you're going to look at it and go, ew. Because it does not. They don't match. But they will. I promise. It will work. So I do that highlight side on the center vein, opposite the shading. Just like that. And I bring it up a little bit on the same side. And then I do the same thing on the outside edge. I bring a little of that down to the point. So far, so good. But it does have, it has an almost noxious look to it. It does not match in tone or value or in any way, shape, or form with that antique green. But this will work, I promise. But it does give the leaves a really nice base for that highlight color. Our true highlight color. And I'm a fan of using layers. I love to see layers used in this type of thing. Because it builds up depth, builds up color, builds up all of those things. But see, these leaves here, kind of meh. Little more leafy. Little more leafy, I think is the word I was looking for, not leafy. There we go. And we get that little highlight in. And in case you're wondering what the secret to floating is, use the whole chisel edge of your brush. Don't putz. Use the whole chisel edge of your brush. It makes a world of difference. You want to get a nice strong float, nice even float. Use the whole chisel edge of that brush. I see people turning their brush up onto the tip all the time. And that makes for a very narrow float. And very often not even a good float, because you're only using the darkest value of the color. So if you get onto that, use the whole chisel edge of the brush, you get really nice transitions. And you get nice wide floats, nice smooth floats. And he's back. And we've had Cheryl D'Agostino added to our pupper fund.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Right on.
There we go. So how fun is that? Look at that. Fun, fun, fun. I just realized I forgot a leaf. Didn't base coat a leaf. This one down here. And one there. Shame on me. I missed a leaf right here. And I missed a leaf over here. Oh, we got YouTube back.
Yep. You're using new brushes. Do you like them same, less, or more than the Dynasty Foursquare?
I haven't decided yet. I've literally only had them a couple of days. I got them on Wednesday, so I haven't really had a big opportunity to put them through their paces, but I am rather obsessed with this one, that Evo art, that angled shader. I like it for floating. It's very nice. But I don't think you'll ever get me to change from my faux squirrel. Those are my favorite brushes. Is May's going to get an ice cream cone as a birthday treat?
Yeah, if I could find dog safe ice cream.
We might have to make some. So I'm going to switch to a smaller angled shader. I'm going to switch to my faux squirrel 3/8 because I love my faux squirrel. And I love the 3/8. So we're going to take a little bit of that margarita. I love this color. What company are the brushes from? I only use Dynasty brushes. Debbie Sears, I need to practice more on shading leaves. All you gotta do, trace out a bunch of leaves on a piece of cardstock and just practice, practice, practice. That's the best way. The more often you do it, the better you get at it. It's as simple as that. Okay, so I've got margarita. And pardon me, I'm going to go over top of that leaf green. And this pops. Oops, I've got a little too much in my brush. Hang on. I didn't blend it enough. There we go. That's better. I love that it becomes this really vibrant, in your face green. It's got a tude, but it's a wonderful base. That leaf green is a wonderful base for this margarita. It becomes a very vibrant green.
A lot of birthday wishes to Maze.
Yeah.
It's on Tuesday.
Yeah. She turned a whole year.
A whole year old.
Yep. And she's showing her attitude. She killed her toy.
See, in the dog world, it's not called the terrible twos.
No.
No. Once they're 2 years old, they usually calm right down.
Yeah, well, they're more like closer to an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More of an adult dog at that point.
Yeah. I think you could call her a cranky teenager at this point. Maybe preteen.
The worst is between 6 months and 18 months.
So we still got 6 months to go, is what you're saying, right?
that is the what you would call the terrible twos. Usually is the optimal word.
Usually.
Yeah, Judy Thacker with $20.
Thank you.
I need to keep that fund growing.
Yes, we do.
Thank you, Judy.
We haven't quite decided what we're going to do yet, but we want to do something special. It might involve a dinosaur suit. Yeah. Carol.
How's May's gonna handle the dinosaur suit?
She might eat whoever's in it. She tried to eat me this morning. With love, of course. She eats me with love.
My German Shepherd had the terrible twos until she turned 5.
Ouch.
Yeesh.
Maze just likes to chew on us. That steals socks.
Yeah, steal socks.
And cat food. She steals the cat's cat food.
She's getting better with the cat food.
Yeah, except she did it twice yesterday.
Yeah.
But I think that was just quite simply we were not paying attention.
Yeah, the first time in the afternoon, no one was watching her.
Yeah.
Because she was sleeping.
Yeah. Was. Yeah. Then she woke up.
And chose violence.
And chose violence, yeah. That was Maze. I was her chew toy, and I have the ruses and the marks to prove it. Of course, when I said ouch, then she tried to kiss it better. Because she doesn't want to hurt me.
Wants to play.
She wants to play. And first thing in the morning, she's very bitey. Until you get a bowl of food into her.
Yeah.
And then it's just playful, but up until then, she's very bitey. Raffin sleeps in her hubby's socks. Maze will wait till everybody has their head turned, and then she will go into the laundry hamper and steal the socks. And then growl at me when I try to take them from her. She growled at me this morning. And then sulked because I did take them from her.
I don't have enough space for a microphone.
We have so much stuff in here right now. It's ridiculous. Equipment. Sound equipment. Cameras.
And yeah, I could probably turn on one of the microphones from the camera,
But
you're going to get an echo.
Yeah. Which was the reason we went to these.
Yeah.
Yeah, we find ourselves running short of space in here for a lot of this equipment. Every time we upgrade something else has to go. Unfortunately. Renee's mic was one of them. So we're going to dry that. And then we're going to do one more shading on these leaves.
Expand.
Time to expand. God, if we expand any more. Well.
You need a bigger studio.
Oh, God, no. Most of this equipment is only set up when we are live or when we're recording. But most of the time, this stuff is all put away. And then we have plenty of room. It's most of the website stuff that takes up a lot of the space. So.
It's a big enough room that it doesn't echo.
Yeah. So we've got, look at that, nice bright leaves. But we're going to make them stand out a little bit more. And we're going to do that by deepening the shadows with another float of the black green. This just softens all of these borders and just gives the leaves a lot more dimension. It mutes things where they need to be muted. I'm heavily thinning this color, by the way, because we don't want this to kill these colors. We want to add a little contrast, is all. Now look at the shape. Very crisp. Lots of definition. What are you giggling about?
Leanne, I threatened to vacuum my dog.
Oh.
Furminator makes an attachment for your vacuum, so you can vacuum your dog.
That would be convenient.
It is very convenient.
We should really. I wonder if Gizmo would sit still for that.
Probably not. Check him out, Furminator.
Furminator.
I almost got one for Dot, but she barely shed.
Yeah. There we go. So we have leaves, which means now we can paint those flowers. And I love doing this part because this is decorative painting 101. Painting these flowers. I just love it. Chewing on their bones, so I'll I hate the vacuum cleaner and we'll run outside. Donna Baker, Furminator is the best.
Terrified of the vacuum.
Maze doesn't like the vacuum cleaner. She doesn't like the big purple snake. So she goes upstairs and hides under Renee's bed. So I need number 5 round. Number 5 round. And we need some warm white. Now these flowers come together very quickly. And they are super easy to do. They just require a little bit of patience. So you need to load your brush. I like to use a little bit of glaze. Your paint should be a little thicker than milk. But you need a nice load of warm white. We're going to start with this one in the background here. Each of these petals is made up of 3 strokes. So one is a comma stroke that goes to the left. One is a comma stroke that goes to the right. And this straight up and down stroke like this. Petal number 1. Stroke, stroke, stroke. They are going to look lumpy and streaky, and that's okay. That's going to create the look of this flower. 1, 2, 3. And pull the stroke right back to the center. 1, 2, 3. These flowers, and this is it. This is all you have to do. You do not have to do more than this. So I'm going to pull that right one and this just a little bit of white down here. Then we're going to come over to this one here. Right, center, left, right, center. Pull them right back towards the center of the flower. Left, right. Cannot even imagine 4 huskies, just the hair and the howling. Oh my dear God. Who owns 4 huskies?
Crazy people.
Yes, crazy people. Would have to be crazy people. It's like people that own 4 mouths. That's the crazy people. And then we're going to do these ones in the foreground. And this is why you do the leaves first, so that you get this nice clean finish. You're not having to work up and over those bright white flowers. Gives you a nice clean look. 1, 2, 3.
See? You just attach your brush to it.
Cool. Maze would not do that. Can't get her near the vacuum cleaner. So nice number 5 round. Three strokes per petal. Super easy. And we got one flower down here. And I firmly believe that these flowers are what bring this piece together so quickly. It always looks relatively unfinished until you get these flowers in. Then I love how it looks. Simple little flowers.
My second dog is going to be a staffy.
A staffy? Just not a puppy. Please.
Why not?
I don't think I can live through another.
Awesome.
I don't think I could live through another puppy.
No, if I decide to get another dog, it's going to be probably a rescue.
Oh, I have a feeling ours will. So the center of the flower, you're just going to use your round brush just to stipple in a little white in the middle of each flower. Just fill in that circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need a little bit of white in there. You might notice that there is some dark showing around the center. It's okay. Patrick. Always. Yes, always Patrick. I use a little bit of Joe Sonia's instead of water to thin my paint. There we go.
Denise got it.
What?
Oh, sure you could. Just love puppy kisses.
That's problem is I'm a sucker for puppy kisses. I got puppy kisses this morning, whether I wanted them or not.
It's the teeth.
It's the teeth. Like I said, I don't think I could survive another one. Puppies are hard. I'd take an adult dog. I'll take a rescue. But no more puppies. They're cute and all, but no. That's like having a baby in the house. Look how fun those are. Super easy to paint. So fun.
Kids these days are soft. I'm pretty sure I died once when I was 7 and my mom made
me
me
walk it off. Yep. There we go. So this is nice and dry. And we need a yellow. So we need a yellow for the center of these flowers. I'm using Baby Duck. I love this yellow. So pretty. And we're just going to put a little bit in the middle. You know, right over that white that we stippled in, we're just going to put a coat of Baby Duck. Such a great yellow. There we go. Look at that. Sheila, what did I miss? A bunch. Hello, sweetie. Good to see you. Nilda Sanders. So I'm going to make sure this is good and dry because we're going to do a little bit of shading And the shading color for these flowers is that tea berry. Remember that gorgeous coral tone that we used under that cranberry wine? We're going to use that tea berry. Karen Wilson, baby duck brings back great memories of 1970. You're dating yourself, darling. I remember what baby duck is. I don't even know if you can still buy baby duck.
I'm waiting for a color called baby shark.
Oh, that would be an annoying color. Don't you think?
Yep.
Yep, baby shark would be an annoying color. So, we're going to start with shading the centers of these flowers. And because our shadows are on the lower left, I'm going to put the shadow. I love this color over top of baby duck. It has almost a neon effect. Nice little shadow. Nice little float, semicircle. You just want to do half of it.
Since when is the dungeon upstairs?
The dungeon upstairs?
Yeah, according to Sheila Landry, the dungeon upstairs.
I don't know. My sinuses just opened.
What color are you shading with again?
This is tea berry.
Tea berry.
I love this color. It's so vibrant. Particularly when you put it over top of this baby duck. Even more so if you put it over top of saffron yellow. It just turns to fire over saffron yellow. Love it. So look how pretty. Look how vibrant that is. That soft, delicate yellow, and then you put a pop of that tea berry over top of it. It just yummy. I love this tone. It just takes on such great vibrancy. So I'm going to rinse out my brush. And then we're going to use that tea berry to shade each of the petals.
Looks like orange flame.
It does, except this has a nice glow to it. There's something about this color over top of baby duck. It almost glows. It's such a pretty, pretty combination. So at the base of these petals, I'm going to use a float of tea berry. Thin it out a little bit. You don't want it full strength. And I take it right down. And I like to leave a little space at each side, at each edge of the petal. So it's a little U-shaped float. Such a pretty color. And it's just such a great shading color for these flowers. It gives the petals a slightly pinkish tone and creates that shadow towards the center at the same time, which is really nice. So there's that little float. Look at that. This is a very simplistic flower. But simplistic doesn't necessarily have to be plain.
Maddie is 6 months and 65 pounds. That's about what May's weighed.
Yeah, they're about.
Well, not at 6 months. It's about 8 months. And Kisses are a face wash.
Yep.
Very nosy and sniffy and eats everything. Puppies take constant watching.
Yes. It's like I said, it was like having a toddler in the house.
Yeah.
Wouldn't trade it though. It was so much fun. She was
You just gotta let them figure things out.
She was an adventure. Let's call it that.
Every day's an adventure.
With Amel, yes.
She's gotten better with people.
Yeah, she's gotten better with a lot of things. Better with people, better with cars.
Oh, she's next to
Oh, she pretty
ignorant
much
bears
ignores
now.
them now. She'll eyeball. She loves scaring the hell out of people, though.
What was it, the delivery
The
guy
Costco
yesterday?
delivery guy the other day, she met him. He didn't realize she was there, and she was just on the other side of the screen door.
With a ball in her
And
mouth.
she had a ball in her mouth, and she sat up and barked at him. And he nearly jumped out of his skin because she's got quite an intimidating bark when she decides to. And he looked up just in time to see this face with the big orange ball in her mouth. Is she friendly? I said, no. No, she's not.
She's just watching you.
But she's not going to hurt you. Don't
She
worry.
has no ill intent. She's just.
No,
she's actually afraid.
Yeah. She's very skittish around people.
New people.
New people. She's good with her people. She just tries to eat us. Yes, Maze did have a birthday. She's a whole year old. Oh, forgive me, but I needed to do that.
The house is very empty without them. Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of the main reason why I got got. Living out in Winnipeg and on
Yep.
my own, and yeah,
Needed company.
I needed company. I thought about getting a cat.
Yep.
I didn't think I was.
Where is Maze? Right upstairs. Yep.
She's destructive when she's down here.
Yep. She gets into trouble when she comes into the studio. She likes to fish things out of the garbage can. The one thing we have done is all the bathrooms in the house, all the trash cans now have lids. Because she likes to pull things out of the trash. So we have lids on everything now.
She's not friendly.
Maze?
That change? Oh yeah, I'll take time.
Yeah. She's
But-
just, I shouldn't say she's not friendly. She's just,
The breed is inclined to be very stranger danger
yeah.
type personality.
Yeah. The breed is, that's brought in. Oh, I thought he said the house. You know what? The house is empty without a pet in it of any sort. Not that we are short on pets. We have 2 cats
And a velociraptor.
and a velociraptor. So,
Velociraptor, yeah.
so I'm just separating some of these flowers with a little float of asphaltum. It just lifts them up and puts them in their place. I like to make sure they're all separated. Super pretty. Now you can take that asphaltum and darken the shading of the centers a little bit, which I like doing. Super easy. And we're going to finish off the centers of these. Super easy. I like doing this with a rigger and a little bit of warm white. And on the highlight side, I like a smattering of irregular size and lots of space, little white dots. Make sure that some of them come out onto the petals a little bit. You guys probably see me do this a million times.
Oh yeah, Winnie the Bear.
Winnie the Bear. Well, that's true. He wasn't a poo, he was a bear.
Yeah, he didn't poo in the yard, so we're lucky on that part.
Yeah. No, but he left a pile of trash out there. Yeah. That's one of the pitfalls of living this close to the forested area, heavily forested area, that we do tend to get some wildlife. Renee ran into a fisher cat the other day. We had a deer on the neighbor's front lawn across the street. We get bear fairly regularly through here. The occasional lynx and fox.
Very, very occasional cougar.
Yeah. One of our neighbors further up the village there had a cougar in their yard.
Fisher cat? Question mark?
Fisher cat. It's a type of larger marten or weasel. They can get quite large.
Mean.
It can be. They're very solitary, so they don't like people. They don't like other animals, so. They're quite pretty, though. So, on the shaded side, I do the same thing with a little bit of either lamp black or asphaltum. Any dark color will work just fine. And again, I make sure that a few of those dots come out onto the leaves, and that a few of them mix in with some of the white ones so that you don't get a line, a harsh square line.
No, we don't get possum.
No, we don't get possum, and we don't get, what's the other one?
Armadillo.
Armadillo. We don't get those here.
I wish we got armadillo.
We do get marten and marmot.
Marmot?
Martins,
marmots.
Yeah. Martins are like little tiny weasels, like a miniature ferret. They're super cute, dark red. They often get mistaken for red squirrels.
They change color.
Yeah, they turn. That's an ermine. Ermine turn white. Oh, Carol, I had 18 deer in my front yard yesterday, with 3 of them in bucks. Wow. Wow. So, I love this look. I just think that this is fun.
Oh, and coyotes.
And coyotes, yes, we do get coyotes. Here we are. So it's time to start adding some of the vines, the tendrils, the grasses that are back there. The little details to this. I'm going to do that with my extra long detail liner because that's my favorite liner brush, this one. I'm using, this one is a 5/0, but I use a 10 or a 5, sometimes a 15, depending. And I'm going to thin a little bit of margarita. And I'm going to bring a little bit of warm white into it. The warm white isn't to make it lighter, it's to make it a little bit more opaque. Whoa. Yeah. Daughter gets wild horses in her yard.
That's cool. Wild horses?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. They could stay away, but...
I was gonna say.
They could keep the distance. I'll watch them all day. I can watch horses all day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just.
I love horses.
Give me a large yard and full of dogs.
Yep, you'd be happy camper.
Be rolling around in there with them.
Yeah. So I'm just using that mixture to do these little vines and tendrils. What?
Patrick.
What?
I'm jealous of all of you. I don't have raccoons. I don't have coyotes. I don't have deer or bear. I have loads of pigeons, though.
So I love these little vines. That's one of the benefits to have a really good liner. It makes it so much easier to do those curly cues, those vines and tendrils, so that you're not killing yourself.
We don't have rabbits. We have hair.
Yeah, we get hair. Don't see them in the village very often, though.
You see them on the dirt road. They're
Yeah, you see them down on the laneway and whatnot, but not so much here in the village.
kind of like a jackrabbit.
Yeah. So a little bit of that thinned margarita and white, just to stroke in a few thin lines, just for a little bit of greenery. It just helps balance this little bit. So fun.
I want to go to Newfoundland and see the water puppies,
Water.
the seals.
Yeah.
and-
Oh, we don't have to go to Newfoundland for that. You can go down to the bay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Water puppies.
water puppies. So for the edges of these leaves, I use that same green to put an irregular line, scribbly, let's call it scribbly, along the edges of the leaves. And this is also what I use to connect all of these smaller leaves. So those irregular lines do not have to be exactly on the edge of your leaf. They can go off the edge of the leaf a little. It's fine.
That's a very good question.
What's that?
Are there any berries in this design?
There are, yes.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like,
Where's the berries?
we got flowers.
Yeah. We will do berries. Promise.
Farm fresh berries.
Where's the berries? I don't see no berries.
Oh, I see them now. They're there.
You see where they're going, is what you see.
Yeah. Blackberries?
Raspberries.
Raspberries?
Raspberries, yes. So I love this just loose. It just keeps them nice and soft looking. And a little delicate. And it's pretty. Now we get our fair share of wildlife. I can do without the bear. We've had him in the yard several times so far this summer, and it's a little unnerving because you never know early in the morning or late at night if you're going to be stepping out, coming face to face with a bear. But so far, he doesn't seem to be overly bothered by any of us. He just sort of meanders off and does his own thing, but I would rather not find out just how cranky he could be, first thing in the morning. I would just rather not. And I think this is the last one. Double check. Yep, I got all the leaves. All the leaves. I just realized there's a stem missing there. Here we go. Looking good. I think we just about have it. So we got all of those little vines and tendrils in. We got all of the details around the leaves in. We're going to do the same thing to the flowers with a little bit of thinned warm white. You can do this with a little titanium white too, but it is a very soft detail. So you need a nice fine liner to do this. And it's just a little squiggly line around the outside edge of these petals. It does not have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be exactly on the edge of the petal. It's just going to soften the look of the flowers, just in much the same way that we did with the leaves. So you don't have to overthink it. But it just keeps the flowers looking a little soft. It also helps us create a little bit of a turnover at the edge of the petals so that the petals look a little more dimensional. but it doesn't have to be fussy. I don't worry too much about it. It's just a little squiggly just at the edges of the petals. Here we go. Easy peasy. So I'm going to give myself a clean palette because we're going to do these berries. And then the only thing we will have left to do is a little bit of shading in a few places and then some letterings. Just to finish off that lettering. So give myself a clean palette. And then we need our colors for our berries. And we're going to use lamp black, cranberry wine, joyful pink, and a little bit of warm white. So there's joyful pink, our cranberry wine, our lamp black, and a little bit of warm white. Now, I'm going to see if I can find my... So I'm using a little smudger tool for this. This is just a little rubber tool, but a Q-tip works as well, very well. In fact, I would use a Q-tip if I remembered to bring them downstairs, which I did not. So I don't have any Q-tips down here, so we're going to work with this little smudger. So we're going to start using my little smudger. We're going to pick up a little bit of black paint. And I'm going to do this the right way this time. On the shaded side, which is our left side, I'm going to put a series of black dots like so. Just like that. So that's going to be the back side of our berry. So upper, like that. You may need to reload. Now with a Q-tip, you would just pick up a small amount of paint, press it into place, comme ça. Don't worry about getting them absolutely perfect. Doesn't matter. We've got more colors going over top of this. So this is just creating that shaded side of the berry. They don't need to be perfect. Just going to follow that shape. And I've kind of formulated them so that they look triangular. That the berry itself is a little bit on the triangular side. So now I have my smudger loaded with black. I'm going to pick up a little bit, dirty smudger, of that cranberry wine. And I'm going to put the next series of dots over top of the black, some of the black. And I'm going to add that cranberry wine. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. There we go. So then you could complete the berry with just cranberry wine, so that you end up with this triangular shape. There we are. So you've got a full dark side and a light side. So I'm going to wipe this clean to take all that black off of our Q-tip or off of our smudger. Hi, Sushetta. So I'm going to dry this because I don't want this next layer to smudge everything. So this may take a minute. Hi, Deb. Deb Bloomfield is here. Andrew George. Whale watching elk, bears, marmots. Oh my. Andrea is on the other coast from me. So I'm going to dry this really well so I don't smear paint and smudge it too much. I'd have to rewatch this one. She's on the island on the west coast. Beautiful part of the country. So I'm going to use a little bit of that cranberry wine. I'm going to blot it a little bit, and I'm going to pick up some of that joyful pink. Just a little. And we're going to start putting dots of that mixture to fill in some of the blank spaces. So I've got both colors, a little bit of cranberry wine and a little bit of joyful pink on my little smudger. So I'm filling in a few spots in between. And it fills in the gaps in the berry. And we're keeping this more to the right. Not entirely to the right, but more to the right. Here we are. I like the brighter pink on this. I think it just works really well. But I like to pick up a little of that cranberry wine, otherwise it just is a little too bright. So we got lush looking berries. They're coming along. We're going to dry those, and then our next step is to take that same Joyful Pink, we're going to pick up a tiny bit of white. And I'm going to pounce it a little bit on the palette. And this is our highlight color. We're going to use this sparingly because we don't want to overdo. And I just want a slightly lighter value in a few places. Don't want a ton of it. Oops. The paint's not quite dry enough. There we are. I like the addition of just a slightly brighter pink. It just makes for a nice bright berry. Just like that. Doesn't have to be much. And then we're going to do a final highlight with just a dot of white. And we're going to put it on the highlight side of some of those brighter berries, just a few. We don't need it everywhere. And all on the right hand side. This is going to give us our nice bright little raspberries. Now these need to dry really well. There's a lot of paint on there. And then we're going to finish off with the lettering. And as soon as the lettering's done, we're going to come back in and do a little more shading just to elevate all these berries. Good chicken jokes. Alternate for Joyful Pink. Hang on a sec. Fuchsia Pop. Use a fuchsia pop, or fuchsia would be fine too. Okay. So, look at those berries. Bright, shiny, fun, super easy to do. So, we're going to tackle our lettering. I'm going to use that zero rigger for that. And I'm thinning out my paint quite a lot. I kind of want this lettering to look a little distressed, a little more distressed, I think. So I'm going to start over here. I have to take a little care so I don't smear paint. So I'm kind of looking for lettering that's a little distressed looking. I don't want it perfect. So if it's not fully opaque, that's okay. It doesn't need to be. I kind of like it when it's not. I think it has a nicer finish. And it means less distressing on my end. Oops. I like the lettering to look a little rough, that it's been outside forever and a day. So I'm not too concerned with whether or not this lettering is perfectly opaque. If you spend a whole lot of time trying to get it opaque, it just makes the distressing part a little more difficult. And I really like the lettering to look time-worn. And it's hard to do that when you paint it perfectly. So don't paint it perfectly. Straight and level is the most important part. Fully opaque is less so. If it looks clean and sharp, then it's fine. If it's worn, time worn, that's okay. But if lettering is crooked and out of whack, it stands out like a bear on a bicycle, so nobody wants that. And we are going to take a little bit of time to erase some graphite lines so that this is all nice and clean. Especially on a dark background and white graphite, you want to clean it up. What's this? La da da. Almost done. As I said, I'm not too worried about this lettering being perfectly opaque. I kind of like the idea of it being a little less than perfect so that when I distress it, it's going to wear nicely. I think in my original, it's a little too bright. It's a nice thing. I get a do-over when I do this. I get to change the things that I didn't like in the first one. And one of the things I didn't like was I put the highlights in the wrong place for the berries. And I found the lettering a little too opaque. So it gives me a chance to fix those things.
Got your berries.
Got berries. Told you we did berries.
Start getting the...
Renee's going to get the wheel ready. Okay. So we only have a few things left to do, and they're mostly just cleanup. Few little details here and there. So I'm going to make sure that this is good and dry so that I don't smear anything. I'm going to grab my Factus Black eraser, my favorite eraser, and I'm going to take a little time to remove graphite lines because I hate graphite lines. And I want to make sure that, see, my berries are still a little soft. So I just be careful around the berries. Just want to remove the graphite wherever it's showing its ugly face. I don't like graphite. And just in general, clean up my piece. There we are. I'm just taking a little care around those berries because they're still a little soft. It's a fair amount of paint, so we'll take the graphite off of our lettering. And then up here, I like to get the graphite off before I do any shading on this lettering, because once I use that glaze, you can't get that graphite off. actually is looking pretty good. Here we are. Get most of it off. A couple little spots, but nothing major. Okay. There we go.
Ask everybody to say hi in the chat.
Everybody say hi in the chat. Just hi. Very quick.
Capture some names.
So he's going to capture everybody. To put you on the wheel. Say hi.
There you go.
Holy. So I've got my little sanding sponge. Remember, I distressed everything vertically. I'm going to do the same thing again, but just at the lettering. Just to soften and wear these letters through a little bit. And I'm going to take a little bit of water and wipe off the dust. Look at that. Love it. And then I'm going to take my fugly brush and thin out some asphaltum, and I'm going to brush a little asphaltum right over that lettering.
Oh, really?
What? Did you whoopsie? There we go. So that little bit of asphaltum over top, it just tones the lettering a little bit. We'll dry that. I like this much better. So it wore through the lettering much nicer. I like this better than having the more opaque lettering. I am going to put a float of asphaltum right along the bottom of each letter. Grab my angled shader.
Have doubles.
So little float of asphaltum at the bottom of each letter. It just gives these letters a little bit of grounding. Having that little shadow at the bottom just grounds these letters and sort of binds them to the background a little. Much better. And then to finish this, we're going to bring in some shadows. I like shadows. We want to lift these berries off of the background a little, so I'm going to put a little float of asphaltum behind those berries. And it's a simple little float. It's not neat, not tidy. It's just a little shadow. And all it does is lift those berries off of the surface a little bit. Just creates the illusion that they're casting a little bit of a shadow onto the bowl. So it's not a fancy float, not a really perfect float. But I also want to put a little float under my leaves. Darkest value on the surface. Just like that. And then you could go around and deepen shadows wherever you feel they need to be deepened. So if they're not dark enough underneath that little lip at the edge of the bowl, then feel free to deepen the shadow there. Same with around the flowers. If you want to put a shadow under your lettering, feel free. This actually helps ground it to the surface a little bit. Little shadow, doesn't have to be much. Just gives the lettering the illusion that it's got a little bit of substance. So you have one last look at it. If everything is to your satisfaction, then you're going to grab your favorite fugly brush and you're going to do two things. You're going to spatter with a little bit of warm white because I like what it does for the surface. Like so. A little bit of warm white. And then we're going to spatter that bowl. I think it's important because that bowl, we're going to focus the bulk of this to the center of that bowl. Right there. Wahop. There we go.
Put that name back in.
Oh. So I'm putting a little bit of asphaltum, and then I'm picking up a little bit of lamp black. And we're going to spatter a little of that black onto the center of that bowl, like so. I love that spatter. And then just a little of it around the outside. So we've done the stoneware look. It's got that nice little spatter on the center of it. I just realized I smooched. There. Got rid of it. So I'm going to dry this real quick. And I'm going to grab... Where is it? I'm going to grab my white gel pen for this one, I think. My white gel pen does not want to work today. Oh, come on. So frustrating. That one doesn't want to work.
Cheaters in here.
I'm just going to have to sign it with a brush. I can't find a gel pen that wants to work today. And that is our Peace Farm fresh berries.
Your button there while I'm getting rid of the cheaters.
Oh, he's still filtering through. Holy crow. I don't think there's that many people watching.
Pretty close.
That's a lot. Well, welcome back. I hope everybody's enjoying the fall weather. I know I am. It's nice and cool for a change. I don't like the heat. So, farm fresh berries. I really love this piece. It's just such a fun one to paint. I like the little bowl. I like everything about this. And then the simplistic little berries, I think, was just a fun little touch for this one. So, hopefully Renee's got the wheel almost sorted. He's getting rid of the duplicates. So, just to reiterate, today's giveaway is courtesy of Tombow USA. We have what a fabulous Tombow drawing set. It's got everything you need in it to draw and even add some watercolor effects to your drawings. There's all kinds of little goodies in there. Professional drawing pencil, the brush tip pens, calligraphy pens. They're fabulous. And there's also a set of the drawing pens, which are my personal favorite. I absolutely love them. Plus a blender pen and a double-ended watercolor marker, which is fantastic. I love the Tombow set, and it comes with a very high quality eraser as well. So you're going to love that set. Plus, we've included a little create bag, and we filled it up with a few goodies as well. So hopefully, you guys will enjoy that. And Renee is still cleaning up the. Oh my goodness!
Karen. Karen's a cheater.
Duplicates. How could she have cheated? You're the one that copied and printed the list.
Well, I grab them from YouTube
Ah.
and from Facebook.
Oh, I see. So they've got it on both. Sketchy buggers. Fabulous. Well, thanks so much, guys, for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this. We are not live next Saturday. Next Saturday is the annual village yard sale. That's the entire village gets together to do a yard sale. This place hops all day long at dawn onward. So we're taking advantage of the annual yard sale this year to clear out a bunch of stuff and have a little fun, meet with our neighbors and all of that good thing. So we are not live next Saturday. However, I do have a video for you, so you'll be able to tune in at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, same time as usual, on my YouTube channel, and we'll have a brand new video for you with a fun little project for the fall. So don't forget to check that out on Saturday. The pattern for that project will be up most likely by the end of day tomorrow, so it will be up and available on the website if you want to paint along. And we do have a sale starting this Monday. If you are not subscribed to my newsletter, head over to the website and join up. I only send out one email a week. One. I do not like sending out or receiving a bazillion emails from one source on a regular basis. So I only send out one a week. And we usually have links to specials so that anybody that is subscribed to my channel gets their first kick at the cat, more or less. And any freebies that we've loaded onto the website, plus advance notice, and you get your own coupon code. So if you're not subscribed, please go and subscribe to that, and keep an eye on your mailbox on Monday morning. We have tons of good stuff going out. We are having a surface sale coming up next week. So if you're looking for new surfaces and whatnot, we're well stocked at the moment, and we have more coming. So we will have lots of goodies for you to look through. And of course, almost every surface I have, I also have a pattern for. So we're going to have a pattern sale too. Holy hell. That's a big wheel.
That's 281 names.
Wow. Awesome. All right, guys. Renee's going to hit the spin.
In a second.
Oh my God, I'm so stuffed up. Oh. Can't even get air in.
The wheel.
There's the wheel. Big zoom. So if your name is drawn on the wheel, head over to the website, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and send us your shipping information, please. It makes it so much easier. And remember, anything that is unclaimed, if I don't have your shipping information, I can't send it to you. So if it's unclaimed after 2 weeks, it goes back in the bin, and it'll be used at a later date.
I'm going to put you over here.
Oh, good. Put me in the corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner.
There we go. There's the wheel.
There's the wheel, and the first name is...
Oh, I got blue sticky notes today.
You got blue sticky notes today. And the packaging is right in front of you.
Nice.
Judy Thacker. Yay, Judy! Judy, I think, holds the record for the longest dry spell. I think in 3 years she's only ever won once.
Oh, this is her second time.
That's the second time. Congratulations, Judy. Oh, my heavens. And the next
And I
one.
even made sure that I got rid of all the duplicate Judy Thackers. Unless there's another Judy Thacker.
No. There's only one.
There she is.
All those names, they found you. Yes. Okay.
1 in 282.
81. 1 in 282.
There you go. Number 2.
I'm getting a kick out of some of the commentary. It's hilarious.
Why am I not getting Facebook?
I don't know. Sue Potts. Awesome, Sue. Sue is a long time. She's been with us a long time. Congratulations, Sue.
I gotta really mix it up.
Yep. And the last one goes to
Somebody new.
Jeannie Westerfield.
Nice. It's a name I don't recognize.
Yeah. So, Jeannie, if you're watching, make sure you head over to the website, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, send us your shipping information so that we can get your goodies out to you as soon as possible. Congratulations to all 3 of our winners, Sue Potts, Judy Thacker, and Jeannie Westerfield. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy your Tombow goodies. And to everybody else, thank you so much for coming and watching every Saturday. We love and appreciate you, and thank you for being with us every week as you do. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Go over and hit the big red subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications so that you get notified every time we go live or when we post a new video. And to all my friends on Facebook, you know where to find me on Tracy Worrow Live. We're at the same place every Saturday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time.
Except next Saturday.
Except for next Saturday. But you will have a new video available on my YouTube channel, so make sure you head over there at noon. In the meantime, it is a long weekend, so everybody stay safe, have a great weekend, and enjoy your time with family and the last remnants of this very hot summer we've had. Hopefully it will cool off a little bit for some of you. And for the rest of us, I hope we're looking at a very extended fall so that we have lovely weather through to the end of October. That would be nice. Everybody have a great weekend. We love you. Stay safe.
Pet your dog.
And pet your dog.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
click the button.
You got to click the button.